I am deleting so many emails, you guys. Like I'm on December 12/31 of 24. I had 30,000 emails.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, sounds
So
like me.
so anyway, so
I'm not.
like I was saying, so today, because this is our final gratitude session, I thought I would answer any questions you have and go over things that you can anticipate as you move forward. So I know that you guys are at varying stages of your gratitude. Some of you have been doing this for longer than others. So typically in your early stages, it is very easy to get discouraged. And
Mhm.
as I may have shared with some of you, the majority will give up. Case in point, when I had started teaching back at I think it was end of June, um, I would say around that time when I started, we had a decent number of people who wanted to sign up and learn. However, about, I'd say over 80% of you gave up after the first couple of weeks because it got hard. And that's normal. Just so you know, for most people, it's normal. Part of the reason why people give up is because initially, when you hear about creating a gratitude practice, it sounds simple enough, but the implementation part can be challenging. And many people aren't up for the challenge because um, some people will get very discouraged at just like even just a little bit of hardship, right? And as you've all discovered, after your first 30 days, you switch into 5 general gratitude pieces and 5 that are related to you. And so many folks do not want to do that deep dive into themselves because the skeletons in their closet are a little bit scary, right? And I guess what I'm saying is it takes a bit of courage. It also takes consistency and persistence and a little bit of bullheadedness to really turn this into not even a habit, but part of who you are as a person. And not everyone is cut out for it, and that's okay. But for those of you who are here right now, I have a feeling you guys are the exception. You really want this, right? Because even though you haven't reached where you want to be yet, you're starting to feel it. So you have an idea of what's possible for you, and that's driving you. And that's an excellent thing, right? Because that is the other key to not just, creating a gratitude practice, but for doing anything. You've got to keep yourself motivated. And you got to figure out what it is that is not only going to motivate you right now, but it's going to keep you motivated and engaged, right? And it's going to be different for everyone. It's going to be different for everyone, right? I'm going to be honest with you. My reason for this is kind of stupid. I can be a little bit OCD for those of you who know me. So I actually fell into gratitude becoming a part of who I am by accident. It was by accident, y'all. So what happened was I was actually keeping a notebook, as some of you know, for my list of gratitudes. And the book I had was 300 pages. So even though when I started this, right, I was only supposed to do 90 days and then I was done. But I couldn't leave the rest of the book with empty pages. So I kept going. And when I completed the book, I realized gratitude had gone beyond just a habit. it had become a part of who I was. And when I realized that and I recognized how much it had changed me and how different I felt in such a wonderful way, I felt like I needed to share this with people because I recognized in that moment that not everyone gets to experience this. And it's beyond description. Like I feel very blessed to have come upon this. Even though it was for a dumb reason. I just wanted to fill my book. I just wanted to fill the pages. That's all I was after. But the end result of that was wonderful, right? So whatever reason that you can find to keep going, right? That's what you're looking for. Because like I said, it does get challenging. I've gone through, a lot of what you guys have experienced, right? Like in the beginning, I remember, I think after the first week, I was scratching my head going, crap, I gotta come up with a list of 10 that I haven't come up with before. Are you kidding me? Right? I got frustrated. I got mad. I actually did skip a day or two here and there a few times because it got tough. But what kept me going was I was bound and determined to fill those pages. So I was like, okay, gotta come up with something. And when you're motivated like that, you do find a way. And as you heard me say before, one of the things I learned is if maintaining this becomes a chore, becomes frustrating for too long, you got to pivot because it defeats the purpose of writing these lists, right? The purpose of this is to make you happy, right? So if you aren't experiencing joy in proceeding with your gratitude, it's defeating the purpose, right? Because let me ask you this. When you think of the things that you're grateful for, how does it make you feel? Right? Maybe in the beginning when you think about like, I'm grateful for a warm bed. I'm grateful for running water, right? You are truly grateful. But you'll also, and I think this happens to many of us, when you think about our warm beds, the roof over our heads, running water, we kind of go, wow, I kind of been taking that for granted. And a part of you feels a little bit bad that you've been taking it for granted, but simultaneously you're like, wow, I can't imagine my life without these things. It would be awful if all of a sudden I didn't have running better water or a warm bed to sleep in at night. Oh, wow. I'm really thankful to have those things. I'm so lucky, right? And it makes you kind of feel warm and fuzzy inside. But then as you dig deeper and you get more specific about what you're grateful for, right? Could be something like um, a particular brand of dish soap that you use that really cuts through the grease when you've been cooking and makes your life so much easier so you don't have to scrub so darn hard when you're cleaning the dishes, right? And when you've been in the gratitude practice long enough, what happens is not only are you grateful for this amazing dish soap, but then your mind starts to go, right? And you're like, man, I wonder who the genius was that came up with this specific formula. How bound and determined and frustrated with grease were they to discover and create this formulation? I am so grateful to that person for being so stubborn in discovering this so I didn't have to suffer the way they did. day after day, week after week, not being able to cut through that grease and having to live with sticky, grimy pots until they made this discovery. Your brain starts going there, right? And that's the beauty of this is all of a sudden, like you really start to dig deeper, you start to get more specific. And then you have real gratitude because now you're like, I am grateful for not just this product, but this person who had the wherewithal, or maybe it's a team of people who had the wherewithal to figure it out for me. So I don't have to suffer. I'm so thankful for that. Right. And then you start to feel that gratitude in your bones because you're now like, now it's deeper and deeper what you're thankful for. Right. And that's when it slowly starts to evolve from just a habit where you're writing a list of 10 things every day to now it's becoming a part of you. And so what you'll see happen, and usually this happens at around somewhere in the 60 days, you'll start to see this happen where you've written your list of 10 in the morning when you started your day, but over the course of your day, you're picking up things, right? Like the person who held the door open for you. Oh, that was really nice of them to do that. How thoughtful. You know, it's not as common anymore. And this person, I bet you they do it all the time because they're good people. I'm so glad that I had the opportunity to cross paths with that person, right? Like you'll think that. Even though before you're like, thank you, and you just keep going, you will, because you've been practicing gratitude, take a moment to really acknowledge that person, go, you know what? No, I'm really thankful for you. I'm really thankful you're alive to be here in this moment to hold the door open for me. Thank you so much. Right? You're going to start taking more time for those moments on purpose. And it's
That's
going to
just like the
feel,
gifts I gave. My son's like to me, says, why did you do that? I think because he's embarrassed. I said,
yeah,
because I'm a good person and I'm thinking about others,
yeah,
you know?
exactly. Right. And so this is kind of what you're going to start to see, which is wonderful. And what I want you to get to, right? But you are going to experience some struggles along the way. And that is to be expected. Okay. So please don't feel discouraged when things come up because your days are going to be ups and downs. Some days are going to be easier than others. That is normal. Okay. That is normal. So on days where you're like, I can't come up with anything, right? And you're starting to get frustrated. I want you to start implementing some of the tricks I shared, right? So things like I spy. What do you see? What do you smell? What do you hear right now in this moment that you can be grateful for? Like right now, I can hear my refrigerator humming, right? Well, I have a fridge. I'm so glad I have it because right now it is keeping the food that I'm going to prepare tomorrow for a Christmas dinner that I'm preparing from rotting. So I can actually cook good food instead of rotten food, which I'm sure nobody wants to eat, right? So grateful for that, right? And it's stainless steel, this fridge. I've always wanted to have a stainless steel fridge, right? Since I discovered them, I just think they look cool and very modern. Really thankful that of all the fridges, I have this one, right? And as a bonus, you know what this fridge does? It has an ice maker, y'all, with filtered water. and it makes ice cubes. It even crushes ice.
I wish I had one.
I
Right?
love that because I
Yeah.
have one.
And that's what I mean. It's like it actually, when you do that, it just simplifies it so you can find things, right? You can always find things to be grateful for. Just take a moment. Take a moment, right? And if that even gets to be hard after a while, right? And I shared this with one of you. Now that you've been doing this a while, you're going to catch yourself over the course of your day being grateful for things. Take a mental note of that, right? Because you can use that for tomorrow's list, right? So it could be something like, you're at work and you are inundated with the stuff that you have to get done today. But then Jane stepped in and went, "Hey, Heather, I know that you had to create this spreadsheet for tracking, but you also have all of this other pile that you got to deal with. So I hope you don't mind. I took the liberty of putting that spreadsheet together for you. I'm going to send it to you in an email in the next 5 minutes, okay?" And you're sitting there going, "Jane's a lifesaver. I am so grateful for her. I can't believe she made that spreadsheet for me. I'm grateful for Jane for first acknowledging that I'm overwhelmed. I'm grateful that Jane loves spreadsheets so much, she knows her way around Excel. I'm grateful to Microsoft for creating Excel." Now you've got three things to be grateful for. Make note of it, and then you've got something to start tomorrow with, right? You can do that.
That's funny you say that because I actually was told by my boss that I'm getting help and I
Yeah,
got a good review.
brilliant.
Yay, Heather.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And I was out of the blue. And she's like, I'm doing fabulous. And this is the one I was
Yeah.
told you about, you know? So
And this is what I mean, right? You've already started your list for tomorrow for things to be grateful for, right? So it can be as simple as that. But the other things that I want you guys to be more conscious of as you keep going with this is notice when you are having moments of gratitude in your day. When you catch yourself and you're like, "Huh, out of nowhere, I recognize that." It's like I noticed that Shelly refilled the coffee in the office kitchen today. I actually noticed that. And I'm really thankful to her. Yay, me, right? Notice that you're noticing and be grateful for that. Because here's what I'm going to tell you. When gratitude becomes a part of you, that's part of it. Is you're going to be grateful for a lot more things. And you're going to acknowledge when you are noticing that gratitude and being grateful for that. So it's like a double whammy, right? And that's when you're just exuding, like you're just thankful for so much. Because I'll tell you, in 1 hour, when gratitude is a part of who you are, coming up with 100 things is a piece of cake. It's a piece of cake, right? Like I think I told some of you guys, it's minus 20 degrees out right now, right? But before I stepped out the door, my list of things I was grateful for, I love when it gets down to minus 20 because what it does to the snow. It dries out the snow here and it makes it sparkle like diamonds. It is beautiful, right? I'm grateful for that. I'm also grateful when it gets down to this temperature because everything freezes, but the moisture also gets pulled away. So the snow doesn't stick to my boots. It kind of blows away. I'm grateful for that, right? And because it's frozen, it means that my feet aren't going to get soaked. I'm grateful for that, right?
just as
I'm
long
great.
as you don't fall.
Right. But I mean, like, it's just one after the other, right? Like, you're just constantly, right? And the air is crisp So when the sun rises in -20, it is something else. It is beautiful because of what it does to the air and the different colors. Grateful for that, right? The smell in the air when it's -20 is something else, right? The way the coolness hits your skin when you open that door. That is quite the sensation. You won't experience it in any other climate. I'm grateful that I get the chance to experience that because it's like both sort of walking into a wall of cold, but also very refreshing, right? And I also am grateful for the way that like your skin freezes so fast as kind of a warning sign that, you know what? Don't stay out here too long, right? And I love the way that like when you breathe out, it just sort of fogs in the air and it just freezes there and floats like a cloud. So many things. And that all happens within a matter of seconds of walking out the door, right? Because of how your brain starts to look at things and observe things. You take the time. Whereas before I started practicing gratitude, I'd be like checking my phone on the weather app and going, it's -20 out. Okay, I better dress warm. Throw on a jacket, walk out the door. Don't even notice any of it. Don't notice the snow. Don't notice the fog in the air. Don't notice the sunrise. Nothing. Because I was taking it all for granted. Right? Now when I check the weather app and it says -20 out, oh, I get to wear my warm fuzzy jacket and my furry boots. Yay me. Right? I take a moment. And even as I'm lacing up my boots, I'm in my head going, I'm grateful for laces on my boots because I can keep the cold air out better. I'm grateful I have winter boots with traction. I'm grateful for fur on my boots to keep my toes warm. Right? I think of all of these things now because I'm taking a minute. I'm taking a minute to take it all in. Right? This is what starts to happen. You start to evolve. I used to be someone who moved so freaking fast all the time. And it's not to say I don't move fast now. I still do. But if I do, I recognize that I am. And I'm doing it on purpose, with purpose, right? One of the things that used to happen, my friends used to hate walking with me because they'd have to run to keep up with me because I was always like racing somewhere. And I remember like my guy friends used to admire because I used to be an event planner. So I was always in boots, like high heel boots, right? And carrying stuff. Like I would be carrying 8-foot tables in either hand and just hoofing it in these heeled boots. And my guy friends are like, good Lord, where are you racing to? I don't race anymore because I'm taking it all in. And here's the thing. When you have tunnel vision and you walk, yes, you can walk very fast. But if you're doing this and you're taking in all the things around you because you're in wonder, you can't go very fast. If you watch a little kid, right? If you watch like a 4-year-old, say, they don't walk, they run, right? But they don't run a straight line and stay there. They run around. Do you know why they do that? They run because they're so full of energy, it has to expend somehow. But the reason why they run in a circle and they run around is because they're taking it all in. So they may run this way, but they're going to come back because they're like, oh, I missed that the first time I went this way. Right? And the reason why they're doing this is because the first time they went around, they're like, oh, I missed the slides Let me go look at that. Oh, saw the slides. Oh, I got to check out the swing set. Right? They're taking it all in. Ooh, the grass is taller over there. I got to go check that out. I need to see those blades of grass. They're observing. That's what happens when gratitude becomes part of you. You start to see it all. Right? And the other thing that happens, any of you who are fast talkers, I used to be one of them. You're going to slow down your talking. Do you know why? Because you start to observe how your words are impacting people. So you start taking in the people around you and how they are reacting to you. It's called active listening. You are listening with your heart, how they're taking in the words you speak, and you're also taking in how they're responding to you. So you're actually really hearing what they have to say, right? You're going to stop doing this as you're talking to people and listening to them, right? How many times has your kid been talking and you're like distracted and doing something else? That will come to an abrupt stop when gratitude becomes a part of who you are, right? You're going to start looking at people and really hearing what they have to say because you're genuinely invested in them, right? Because you're grateful for them and what they have to say. Like my nephew the other day, one of the things he says, like if he has something really exciting and engaging to say, I'm like zoned in. And that is excellent. However, not so good when you're driving, right? So if you're like, oh, and then what happened? He's like, Auntie Tommy, eyes on the road. Right.
Yep, I understand that, especially
Yeah.
when you're driving 3 hours.
Yes.
My son's like, look at that, look at that. I'm like, I'm driving.
Right. But you want to have that connection, right? You want to connect. And that's what happens with gratitude is how you relate with people is going to completely change, right? Like today, earlier this morning, I was at a McDonald's and I was waiting on an order and it was taking a while. And I couldn't understand why, right? So, I was trying to get a hold of the staff, but they were buzzing around and there was another gentleman waiting in line with me. And he kind of looked at me and says, you still waiting for your order? I said, yeah. I'm not sure what's taking so long today. And he goes, oh, I do. There was a power outage in this neighborhood earlier because it's so cold outside. We just came back online a few minutes ago. They're probably having to do an entire system reboot because the power was down for over an hour. So it's going to take a bit. And I was so thankful to him for explaining that to me, right? Because I was starting to get a little bit impatient. But it allowed me, knowing that, having that piece of knowledge, to have more patience for this staff who was trying to prepare my food for me. And so I looked at him and I thanked him profusely for this information because it helped me. But here's what was different. Because of how I communicate, I wasn't speedy, even though I was in a hurry. In talking to him, I took my time. I also held his gaze, which I think freaked him out a little bit because I know not everyone does that. And I smiled, right? Even though I may never meet this person again, for that brief moment that I had an encounter with him, I was grateful Could have been anybody that was there in that moment. But of everyone, it was him who cared enough to take a minute and tell me. Right. And I was grateful to receive that information. Things like that start to happen for you. Right. So notice those things as you progress. If you ever get discouraged, notice how you're changing, because trust me, you are changing the longer you keep with this. Right. One of the first observations you're going to make, you're going to notice that you're getting into less arguments with people. You're going to notice that you don't get as upset over things. That is going to be the first observation you're going to make of yourself. And the reason for that is because you are now practicing gratitude. You are going to have a higher level of compassion for people. And so you're going to find yourself asking the questions we discussed the other day. Who, what, where, when, why, how. So instead of getting your back up and getting defensive, you're going to find yourself asking questions, being more curious, finding out what's going on. And what's going to happen, because you are curious and wanting to know what is the root of all of this frustration, you'll immediately discover, maybe I don't have anything to be upset about. And then the argument that could have been there before is suddenly gone. You're going to notice more incidences of that. Right? If you have a tough boss who frustrates the heck out of you, you're going to find yourself being more compassionate, working towards working together with them so that you're butting heads less. Right? You're going to find yourself wanting to do those kinds of things. Right? That is one of the changes you're going to notice. And further down the line, you may find you're talking more deliberately. You're going to find yourself choosing your words more carefully because you're thinking more. And the reason why you're going to see that happen is because you are grateful for what you have to share with others and with the world. And so you're going to find yourself caring about what you say and how you say things, because you want to create impact. And not only that, because you're going to be actively listening to the responses that you get. So you're going to notice yourself taking more time for things. Other things that are going to happen when you start practicing gratitude and becoming gratitude. And this is something that will start to happen early on in your practice, is that people who aren't worthy of your time and energy are going to start falling away. It's not that you're blocking them or anything like that. They're just going to naturally fall away because they don't serve a purpose for you. And you may not serve a purpose for them, or if they do, it's not being reciprocated, so it's stealing your energy, right? So those people are sort of naturally going to fall away from your life. But in their place, you're going to attract like-minded people, people who are going to help you grow and contribute to your life. They're going to start getting drawn to you, right? You're going to notice that. You're also going to have more awareness of the people around you because you are grateful, right? Before, in the beginning, you probably only noticed people who are directly in front of you, right? Because they're the ones that's like, okay, I need to talk to you. So you only notice them. You don't notice like the people around them because they're not important to you. You just want to talk to John. So John is the only person in existence in your world right now, right? So even though Heather and Tracy are flanking John, you don't notice Heather and Tracy. You're just John. However, when you practice gratitude, now you see, now you notice. And you're going to find yourself, even though you're after John, he's the guy you want to talk to, because you see Heather and Tracy in your peripheral, you're going to include them in the conversation because you're grateful for them and for their support. Stuff like that is going to start happening. And it's not going to be a conscious thing you do. It's something that organically happens simply because you're grateful. This is why that list of 10 is so important. It is such a simple thing. It's just a list. But what happens long term as a result of writing those lists every day, it creates all the other things that you've been pursuing, that you've read about, you've heard about in podcasts and on the radio and on TV. All those things, they just naturally start to happen without you having to put in a conscious effort. That's the beauty of this. When you simplify gratitude, it just happens. It just happens. You don't have to try for it. You don't have to write an elaborate journal. You don't have to sit there and go, I got to work on my mindset for gratitude. I got to do these affirmations. No, you don't. You don't. Because guess what? When you do that list of 10 consistently every day until it becomes a part of you, you won't need to do affirmations. That's a part of who you are. You'll be doing that regularly, right? Mindset, your mindset, it's not even a mindset, it is who you are. It just comes, right? Even on the hardest days, it's going to be there. It's going to be there. And as a result of that, it's going to bring great things. So this is why I want you guys to continue with this list. Do it for the 180 days because you're really going to start seeing differences. Right? And like I said, if you get frustrated, yes, that's going to happen. But then you know that I have to pivot. How I approach this list, I need to pivot a little bit for days like today. Because the purpose of gratitude is to bring you joy. Right? It's there to warm your heart. And it's also the reason why I tell you guys to write your list in the morning, start your day with it. Because ultimately what you're working towards is so that when you open your eyes first thing in the morning, when you wake up and you open your eyes and you take in the world, you're grateful for so many things right out of the gate before your feet hit the ground. And it just continues throughout your day till you fall asleep at night. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. Right? So I hope this is starting to clarify things and giving you a sense of what you're currently building and working towards, what you can anticipate in the coming days, the things that you're going to experience. I mean, yes, we are heading into Christmas and it is a time of gratitude for sure, following Thanksgiving. But beyond all of that, you want it to feel like Christmas every day. Because the reality is, regardless of where you are in life, and I know one of you just celebrated a milestone birthday, there's a lot to be thankful for. In spite of all the ups and downs that we face in life, we have a lot to be grateful for. So all I'm asking you to do is take the time. Take the time to be grateful for the many, many gifts you've been given. Because when you make that time for yourself, it will reward you in ways that you can't even imagine. And one of the most important pieces of gratitude is gratitude for yourself. Because as we grow and evolve and age, we are really hard on ourselves. We are our worst critic a lot of the times. And as a result of that, we have unnecessary anxiety and frustration and depression. Why are we creating that for ourselves? Don't need to. Because, like you used to tell yourself when you were little, you're freaking awesome. Right? If you've ever looked at a baby that's only a month or two old and they're discovering, oh my God, these things that are attached, they're attached to me and it can do stuff. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh my God. You have fingers that are attached to hands that are attached to arms that can do shit. You've got head that holds a brain, that has eyes that can see, ears that can hear, nose that can smell. That's freaking amazing. You do this, right? Got teeth that I can chew with. My mouth makes noise. It can make quiet noise, and it can make really loud noises when I'm excited or want to get somebody's attention. You're amazing just the way you are. We forget that. Right? And for those of you who are dressing skeletons in the closet, you already know this, but I'm going to tell you. Where your judgments come from, all the negative self-talk that you're doing. By the way, you never said those things to yourself originally. I hope you recognize that. When you tell yourself, I'm stupid, I'm an idiot, I'm not good enough, I'm ugly, I'm incapable, those words were never uttered by you first. I'm going to say that again. Those words were never uttered by you first. Someone else said it to you, and you made them your own words. Don't do that anymore. Don't do that anymore. Those words aren't true. Right? So for those of you who have those skeletons in the closet, you got to figure out who actually said that to you. Put a face to the name. Or if you don't have a name, at least figure out who said those things and recognize you never said that to yourself. Of course not, because that's not true. We don't lie to ourselves. And as soon as you recognize you didn't say those things to you, someone else did, and it ain't true, you can let it go. Because you know at the core, you are intelligent. You are capable. You are beautiful. Right? And you can be grateful for all of those things that you have. And when you get to that point, it's very empowering. And the reason why you're all of those things, because each and every one of us serves a purpose in this world. We are necessary for this world to exist the way it does. This world would not be the same place without you in it right now. You do create impact. And if you want to compare, don't. We can't all be Gandhi and Mother Teresa. However, you are Gandhi and Mother Teresa to someone in this world. Maybe even many people in your own way. You have value. And the most important part of a gratitude practice is recognizing that. And recognizing that, by the way, is not ego. Ego is when you have to sort of tell yourself you're great because you don't believe it. So it's kind of fake. What I'm talking about is the truth. The truth about your intelligence, the truth about what you're capable of, the truth about your beauty. Recognizing that and then embracing it. That kind of gratitude. Because that's where confidence comes from. And let me tell you, that kind of self-confidence, it exudes a certain kind of energy that turns heads and makes you charismatic. I'm sure you have been in the presence of people who have that because you feel them when they enter a room. It's powerful. You can have that. Right? And the reason why you can have that is you used to have it. You used to have it. If you've ever watched a kid enter a room, right? We notice kids when they enter a room, not because of the noise they make. It's the energy they bring. They're pure sunshine. You used to be that. You can do it again. So that's why I'm encouraging you. Keep going with this. It is the foundation of everything you build in life. It's the most important piece. And it's what's going to hold you and have you as you go through life and face the many challenges it'll throw your way. So believe me when you say, or when I say, build this first. Right? For those of you who are in the online business world and have taken many sales programs in that, yes, there are foundation tools to sales. However, before you even start on those, trust me when I say, build the foundation of gratitude first. when you have this as your base, oh, you can build anything on it. Anything. Businesses, relationships, you name it. So, as this year comes to a close, and as this class comes to a close, I hope that this has motivated and inspired you to look at gratitude differently in a way that is possible for each and every one of you. And maybe through what I've just shown you in these 4 sessions, I've made it easier for all of you to accomplish. And by doing so, motivated you to want to accomplish this for yourself. Because all of you deserve that true happiness that a gratitude foundation can bring. It is an incredible life to be able to experience joy and happiness every day at this level. And as frou-frou as it might sound, it is very achievable. You just have to believe it is and want it bad enough to keep pursuing it. So I look forward to the day that you guys experience exactly what I'm talking about. And one day be able to sit with you and hear you say, I get it now. And on that note, that is the end of our gratitude sessions. If you have any questions, you are always welcome to reach out to me. And I wish each and every one of you all the best in your pursuits on gratitude. And may you find the happiness and joy that each and every one of you deserve.